Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. You know what time it is. Update time once again in MCOC, and I am back with everything that you need to know about the January 2025 update. Brand new year, same quality patch notes vid. Let's jump right in, starting off with number 1, the brand new champions for January, which are Gentle and OKOYE, two Wakandan champs. So Gentle is a Wakandan mutant. I really don't know much about him character-wise, but he was described to me as kind of like Bane from the DC comics, but without like the chemical dependency and like the mild psychosis, right? So take that as you will. Can't really say much about his kit, of course, but he's already being advertised by the official MCOC social media accounts as a bullseye counter. So, there you go. If you struggle with bullseye, here you go. You're going to have another mutant to counter him. Now, OKOYE, I am super excited to have enter the game. She was in at least one of the previous Summoner's Choice votes, but I don't think she ever gained a lot of traction in any of those votes. She's going to be a skill champ. Really excited, as I said a second ago. I'm a huge fan of Denai Guerrera, who played her in the Black Panther movies. Also, she was in The Walking Dead. Big fan of the actress, and really excited to have OKOYE enter the game. Now, I got to play with both of these champs very little when I was in Vancouver for the Creator Summit last month. Obviously, can't speak to what they do ability-wise, but I can say that they both felt really smooth to play from like an animation and tempo perspective. So, really looking forward to having them both this month. Number 2, with the Glorious Game Saga coming to a close this month, it's time to start a brand new one, and it's going to be called the Deathless Saga. Now, no word on the champion pool for this saga, but given that Deathless is in the name, I think it's pretty safe to assume that all 5 Deathless champs will be included in that pool. They are all currently whitelisted in Alliance Wars, so you can use them on your attack team without the threat of ban. And I'm not sure how many people have noticed this, but all of the Deathless champs were added to both the attacker tactic pool and the defense tactic pool for Sugar Pill and Decay. So I went into an off-season war yesterday, the day before, and noticed that Deathless She-Hulk was a tactic attacker, so I did a bunch of fights with her. But all 5 champions will be included in that pool. I'm not sure if Thanos will be available before the season ends, but if he is, you should expect to be able to use him as a tactic attacker as well. Now, with the Deathless Saga, let's move on and talk about a brand new quest being added to the game called the Deathless Mausoleum. Now, this is the quest in which you are going to be acquiring Deathless Thanos. So I can't really say much about the quest itself. I will say that, do recall that at the beginning of the Deathless Chase last year, it was kind of stated that the biggest requirement for getting Deathless Thanos was going to be acquiring the 4 previous Deathless champs. So, all those champions came with a bunch of their own requirements. Some of them were pretty difficult. So having said that, I don't think you should expect some like incredibly difficult and punishing quest, kind of despite what they're saying here about this being an unforgiving challenge. I really don't think it's going to be that bad. However, neither should you expect it to be, just doing like some simple 5-second quest and getting Thanos for free. I do think that there is going to be some effort involved, but I don't think it's going to be on the level of like, a Karina's challenge, for example. So remember that once you do get Deathless Thanos, you'll need to complete the final Karina challenge, which is currently locked, in order to obtain the dupe for him. And then that'll also give you the overall Karina challenge rewards, which I believe include a rank 3 gem and a fully formed tier 7 basic catalyst, which you'll use to take a champ to rank 4. I think you need 3 of those for a rank 4, so that'll get you a nice head start there. Now, one last thing I want to talk about when it comes to the Deathless Saga is that do recall that all of these Saga champions are given an attack bonus for the duration of the Saga. So, I feel, again, it's a safe assumption that all the Deathless champs will be included in this pool. So I would highly recommend that you take advantage of this and do the Mausoleum quest, do that final Karina challenge during this 3-month window or however long it's going to be for the Deathless Saga, because that'll give you a nice little attack boost. And then if you boost on top of that, you're going to be doing even more damage and getting these quests done all that faster. Number 3 is the Golden Circle rework. So if you have been a player in this game for a long time, you are almost certainly aware that there have been various iterations of gold quests throughout the years in MCOC. There was the original Gold Realm, which I can still remember Seaton doing a video on way back in the day, and the original gold realm at the time felt totally broken in terms of the amount of gold you were getting. I still remember doing it over and over and just getting like, hundreds of thousands of gold, which again at the time was quite a bit. So obviously that one didn't last. They replaced it with a slimmed down version. I forget what the name of that one was. That was only really available during like the Summoner Appreciation events. We haven't seen it in quite some time. And then they introduced the Golden Circle quest with the Summoner Sigil. It was only available for Sigil buyers, but it was removed at some point in like the last year, maybe year and a half. Not really sure. It just kind of disappeared one day. So anyway, starting on January 8th, there will be a brand new daily quest called the Gold Pool Daily Quest, which will replace the formerly Golden Circle quest. So this will be available every day, of course, as the name implies, but more importantly, it's going to be available to everybody in the game, even if you don't have the Summoner Sigil. So everybody is going to get access to a little bit of extra gold every day, which is really great. And it's going to be available to all progression levels, which is also awesome as well. Now, on a personal note, I'm going to be totally honest with you for a second. I really am hoping that the rewards from this quest come in the form of gold crystals, because then I can hoard them all until December and increase my massive haul that I do every December. So I don't think that's going to be the case, but I'm kind of still hoping that we get only gold crystals out of this quest, but we'll see what happens. Number 4, speaking of the Summoner Sigil, it is relaunching, I'm assuming in January, it's not really written here, relaunching as a monthly subscription service with, quote, revamped perks and improved rewards. Now, I'm sure that they're covering the details of these perks and rewards on the official live stream, which probably just ended or is still going on as this video is live. I don't have any further details on the Sigil stuff. I'm assuming that they will add, all of these details to the website when the blog post goes live. I will say that I'm very happy to see this happening. I feel like it's way overdue. The Sigil rewards are way out of date, and currently the only reason that I continue to pay for the Sigil is the increased inventory spots. So I'm assuming those are going to carry over into the new version. Not sure if we'll see a new trophy champ or not. But if we do, I think it's a safe bet that there will be a brand new type of like Sigil currency as well. So really don't worry if you just spent your Sigil tokens. I think you'll be fine. And again, I have no idea if we're getting a new Sigil champ or not. But if we do, I think they'll want to start everybody, at the same spot on day one. So don't worry about those tokens if you spent them already. Number 5, the Summoner's Choice vote is returning for 2025. You've probably seen some posts from the official MCOC social media accounts talking about the champions that are included this year. Now, the voting for it actually starts today, January 3rd. It will take place in-game via some solo objectives. You'll get 5 votes per day that you can submit to hopefully have the champion of your choosing included in the game sometime later this year. Now, this year's vote looks a bit different than in previous years. It's kind of like a street level competition. There are a few familiar names here, some unfamiliar names for me as well. Now, for me personally, I will be casting all of my votes for Daredevil Elektra. I really like how this character is drawn in the comics. I love the hair coming out of the back of the mask. Just a really cool looking outfit for her. And beyond that, our current Daredevils and our current Elektra are all not very good. So having one who is very good, I think, is something worth voting for and something that I will be voting for. Now, there's a lot of early hype for other characters here. Mr. Knight in particular is gaining a lot of traction early on. And frankly, he's probably my second choice, followed probably by Colleen Wing, who I enjoy as well. Really have probably less than zero interest in Hellcat and Power Man, and the other two I'm not really familiar with, the Shroud and Hunter's Moon. Hunter's Moon, I think, is a Moon Knight villain. I'm not really sure who the Shroud is, but if either of them make it to the second round and my top 2 options are out, I'll probably look into them then. So what I'm trying to say here is get out there and vote for Daredevil Elektra. Last but certainly not least is this month's extensive list of bug fixes and improvements. Now, as usual, I am not going to go through all of these. I will cover a few of them. If you are interested in reading through the rest of them yourself, you can pause the video as I go, or you can head on over to the official blog post where they will all be listed as well. So let's start off with this one here. Fixed an issue with how Prestige and Relic PI is calculated. Can't even tell you how many messages I've seen over the past month or two about this. where somebody would like dupe a relic and add 20 SIGs to it, but their prestige would somehow drop. And like there would be wild variances in prestige and relic PI. Like you would add 20 SIGs to one relic and the PI would go down. You'd add 20 SIGs to another and your PI would go up by like 100 points. It was all over the place. So I'm really happy that this is getting fixed and we can have some actual correct values for prestige and relic PI. Next one I want to cover is this one here. Added a HUD icon for the prowess pause timer for Classic Storm's heavy attack. This was actually something that I requested personally. Really happy that the team had the bandwidth to put it in this month. So shout out to them if they're watching this. All right, next one I want to talk about is this one here. It says, fixed an issue with Howard the Duck's armor breaks stacking to 20 instead of 10. Just kidding, we updated the string. Long live Howard the God. So as it turns out, Howard the Duck's armor breaks were never ever supposed to stack up to 20, and a couple of us went all the way back to videos when he was released into the game for the first time and noted that his armor breaks were always stacking up to 20. So, the team talked over this and decided that since it's not broken the way it is, they would just keep the mechanic at 20 and update the string to match what actually happens in the game, rather than give Howard a totally unnecessary nerf. So for all those folks who say that Kabam never makes player-friendly decisions, there you go. All right, next one is this one here. Fixed an issue with the Nameless Grandmaster's LMD not removing opponent effects when activated. Now, in some super rare instances, the Nameless Grandmaster would not remove like passive damage over time effects. So the example that I saw was Onslaught's Neuroshock. So what ended up happening is that when you trigger his final phase and you had like a Neuroshock there, he would just die and you would skip the final phase entirely. So I've only personally ever seen this happen one time. As far as I know, not more than a handful of people even knew it was possible. It is incredibly difficult to reproduce, so it's not like people are out there abusing this. However, being able to skip the last phase entirely, probably not something that Kabam wants in the game, and thus is being fixed. All right, the last one isn't really a bug fix, but they added this section to the end of the patch notes called Cowardice Update, which I will talk through here briefly. So the general idea is that Cowardice has been completely reworked and is now going to work even better against mutants, which is the class of champ that is supposed to be most effective for, right? Because Cowardice is designed to counter prowess effects. So Cowardice going forward is going to be applied at the end of the calculation after all of the prowess calculations take place, and then from there it will reduce the total amount of special attack damage all the way down to a minimum of 10%. So similar to how weakness works today, you cannot totally reduce a champion's special attack damage to 0, but you can reduce it to a maximum or a minimum, of 10% of what it is. So you see, think of a champ like OG Storm, 99 prowess effects. If you have enough Cowardice on her to get that 90% reduction, her specials are really not going to be hitting that hard. So, and then as a reminder here, Cowardice only reduces hit damage and has no effect on red numbers or burst damage or the attack rating of the champ themselves. So only the actual hit damage of the special will be reduced. Folks, that's going to do it for another month of patch notes. Let me know in the comments below what you are most excited about coming to the game in the month of January. Is it the new Wakandan champs Gentle or OKOYE? Or are you instead excited to finally get your hands on Deathless Thanos after almost a calendar year of working for him? Or are you instead excited to vote for Daredevil Elektra in the Summoner's Choice? Or are you going to go ahead and rank up your Silver Sable based only on your boy Sim's word that she's actually going to be a good champ? Whatever it is, let me know again in the comments below. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.